sciencey mood. I think that's me today. Okay, so College Confidential is that forum on the internet where all these kids and their moms are talking about every school. And sometimes people are desperately looking for answers, and some very well-meaning people try to answer them, and sometimes they're dead wrong, and we're here to write that. So, here we go. Number 1. There's a lot of this type of question. I know it's hard to tell when you can't see my acting or singing in these posts, but I'm wondering, what are some good things to work on for the next 2 years? I'm a high school sophomore, so it's still far off, but I'm wondering how I could prepare in the next few years. So first of all, great that you're starting to think about preparing. The one thing you really can't cram for is dance. You could technically learn a monologue overnight and somehow pull it off. Don't recommend that. But the muscle memory of ballet and jazz and everything just takes a long time to get through, especially if it's something you've never done before. So if you have 2 years to go and you take 2 ballet classes a week for 2 years, you'll be amazed at how prepared you'll feel for that portion. And then the other thing is just read more. You have so much time, you can really amass more knowledge about theater in general and acting, and reading books about theater is something that I feel like a lot of our young generation doesn't take the time to do, but is so important to just kind of learn from what's come before us. Number 2. No, we're not gonna do numbers. We're not gonna do numbers because it's gonna make it fucking hard today. I have an 8th grade son who is interested in pursuing a BFA. U of M is at the top of his list. My question for you is, what do you wish you had known at this stage that would have prepared your child better? However, what I have heard repeatedly from friends who started the process in their child's junior year is that it was too late to catch up. For example, I had no idea until reading through the audition threads that ballet was a component of dance auditions. Okay, good for you for starting 8th grade. I would say the first thing is let your child live their goddamn life. If you're a kickball change monster by the time you're a senior year and then you get really burnt out and you suffer from child athlete syndrome, that's not gonna make for a good actor or really a good student. I think you'll just be kind of going crazy. So first of all, live your childhood, enjoy high school. Second of all, voice lessons is great, especially for because your voice starts changing a lot, when you're going through puberty and all of that stuff. Another really good thing to do is to just join a choir, a high school choir, a church choir, whatever you have, because there's just more hours and hours of singing, which is really good for just the muscle memory and the stamina, and also learn how to sing in parts, which is most of what you do in theater. And then watch everything you can. Go see every community theater play, every movie, everything. Broadway, HD, all of that stuff. Open your horizons to everything that there is, because if you're a true fan of theater, you gotta know it from all angles, am I right, ladies? Oh, and because you're starting young and it's 8th grade, I would say definitely take piano or guitar or violin, some sort of instrument. Piano's a good one to start if you don't know where, because you have time, and then by the time you get to college, you'll be a quad threat. Do grades have to be as good as for the university as a whole? The answer is no. Basically, the numbers that they put on the website are the median numbers, and those are extremely high because Michigan is just a super competitive university for every department. So you do have to get in, you do have to meet the minimums, and those change every year, but you don't have to have a 4.5 GPA to go to school for acting. You know what I mean? You just have to impress at your audition, but also try in your classes. Because that's the other thing is if you do good in school and you really read everything that they give you and you really stretch your brain to figure out mathematic puzzles and science, that's really good for you, and it's gonna make you a more well-rounded person in the end. But yeah, you don't have to kill yourself to get a perfect SAT score. It's fine. Just woke up, special guest star, say hi. Maddie also went to Michigan. She graduated from the acting department. We're gonna talk about that in a couple videos.
Great.
It's gonna be great.
Sweet.
Does anyone know if pre-screen/audition days are later in the year for college students who hope to transfer to the University of Michigan Musical Theater program? Obviously, college freshmen can't know immediately if they don't like the college they started in the fall. The answer is you can't transfer in mid-year. So every cycle is the same. if you're a freshman at a different university right now and you're not loving it and you want to audition for Michigan as a transfer, you have to wait for the full cycle to come again to do the pre-screen process with everyone in the fall, and then the auditions in the winter, and then blah, blah, blah. I will say transfers are rare, but they do happen. Like my class had 2 transfers, and what happened for one of them is that they came in with us as freshmen, even though she already had college credits, and then ended up graduating in 3 years. And then we had another person in my class who joined our sophomore year, and same thing, he graduated with us, but like basically did a 3-year program. Transfers, very tricky, very individual. If you impress, they like you, they're gonna work with you. How key is using a coaching firm like MCTA or Mariana Denard to getting in? I am happy to have my daughter use one. Cool. The college audition game is so specific and so unlike anything else you've ever done before or will ever do after in your career. Having some resource to guide your hand through it is very important. Take a look at what the resources that you already have are. Because if you're a kid that is already going to like a performing arts high school and you have a lot of connections and a lot of older kids that have already gone through this process, you probably already have enough people around you that have all this information. And hello, the internet, hi. Whether that is a coach that charges a lot of money per hour or a lot of free YouTube videos, you decide. I would say as long as you do your research and you just pool enough resources to guide you through it, then you'll be fine. ACT or SAT, does it make a difference which test you take? I only did the SAT. It was fine. Okay, another thing that happens a lot on College Confidential, these chance me posts, where people just say like, hi, I'm 5'2". I made this grade on my SAT, this is my GPA, this is how many shows I've done, this is how many leads I've played, I haven't taken voice lessons. And then you just ask random people to tell you how likely it is that you'll get in. I have a lot of compassion for these posts. This is a really big life decision. Getting any sort of guidance as to what to expect or not getting your hopes up too high seems like it would be a good thing to take a chance on. However, no one knows the rhyme or reason for these things. In the end, for performing programs, it all comes down to what you do in the room and what you bring to the table. There are minimums you have to meet, of course, but if everyone did a chance me post, a lot of them would look the same, and you couldn't really tell the difference in why one person got in over the other until you actually see them in person and you're like, oh, there's that spark, or there's that incredible vocal timbre, or like that person is hilarious and can make any song funny, or this girl makes me cry when she dances. Whatever, anything particular that a person can bring into the room is what's going to get them in, and that's kind of what you need to focus more on and say, hey, who am I? What are my strengths? What do my audiences historically respond to in my community theater productions, and how can I present that in a super confident way the day of and say, this is who I am, these are my talents, take a chance on me. I was wondering, if you're accepted into the program, what happens next? That's a great question. Well, the first thing is that you cry and you're very happy, and then all the current students find you on social media and then add you and then post on your stuff, and you start to kind of meet everyone that goes to the program and also is in your accepted class. So that starts pretty soon right after. And then all the logistics of any college decision, which is like you get all your financial aid packages back from the university and you review that and you compare and contrast with what other offers you may have. And there's a lot of back and forth sometimes to say like, I need more money to make this work. How many more scholarships do you have to offer? Hopefully you make your decision as soon as possible, because if you are accepted, then there might be a couple other waitlist people that are like hoping that you go to a different school so that they can slide up in there. So you get till May 1st, which is the national decision deadline. And then if you do say yes, then you send in a deposit, and that kind of secures your spot. And then you get to sign up for orientation, which usually happens in the summer, or you can just do it right before school starts. And that's when you like learn everything there is to know about Michigan, and then you sign up for all your classes, and then welcome week, and then school starts. I didn't get called back in a second time. Is that bad? No. It's chaos. Auditions are literal chaos. You can't read into these things. You can't predict it. Like, as I said in my audition video, I got called in a second time, and it's probably because I didn't show enough, like, soprano range, and they were like, wait, what is that about? You know what I mean? Like, it has nothing to do with anything. I know people that went in saying 116 bars and then they got it. You know what I mean? Like, auditions are literal chaos. Don't go crazy. I know it's easier said than done. The way that I have found it helpful to frame it and spin it in a positive light is that every time I'm in the room, I treat it like a class. Because I love school, I love learning, and if I get to meet someone who's been doing this for a little longer than me, and I get to share my work, and we have a good time, that's a good audition to me, you know? So if you get to go in a second time, cool, let's learn some more. Does anyone have an estimate of how many boys apply for the musical theater program versus girls? The answer is way more girls. Yeah, way more. It sucks. My hope is that there's going to be more awareness of non-binary individuals auditioning for performing programs. As it is right now, it's extremely binary, and it's just kind of like this giant pool of girls and this smaller pool of guys, and yeah, it's just the numbers game, you know what I mean? I found these numbers, I don't know if they're accurate anymore, but imagine that around like between 1,000 and 2,000 people send in pre-screens every year, and then they actually invite 400 people to audition, and then the classes are between 20 and 24 people. And it's pretty evenly split. That's just kind of how it is for the rest of in the professional world too. Also, in your experience, does Michigan expect their students to be Broadway ready when auditioning? I didn't get that impression from hearing one of the MT professors speak. They obviously want talented kids, but also want someone that they see potential in it that they can teach. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're Broadway ready, go to Broadway. You know what I mean? But also, what does Broadway ready mean? There's a lot of people that do one Broadway show and then never get cast in a Broadway show again. You know what I mean? Like, it's not either you are Broadway or you are not. It's just like, you are on your path, you get better and better and better, and like jobs hopefully come to you, and this is a training program. You have to have room to grow. And I think the cool thing is that sometimes you are in class next to someone that has already worked professionally, and you're both still working towards the same things, you know? It's not like either you are a good actor or you're not. It's like, did you tell the truth in this scene today? And everyone's kind of striving to be better, so. Don't freak out about being like, oh, I have not been on Broadway yet. Fuck that. Hey, so I'm a guy and I was waitlisted for Umich Musical Theater. I accepted the waitlist offer. It is my top choice and I will 100% go there if there's a spot. How many make it off the waitlist? Is there any way I can improve my chances to do so? Oof. I mean, improve your chances? No. I would say definitely, after every audition, send a handwritten thank you note. Michigan loves that. Personally, I can assure you, Michigan loves that, so. It's also just nice, it's like, you know, hey, we hung out, we had a class, that was awesome, thanks, you know? How many people make it off the wait list? I mean, it literally changes every year, but I can tell you in my class we had 3 or 4, I think? It's also just, again, literal chaos, because some years it's 0 and some years it's like a lot, and it also doesn't matter. Like, that's not like a thing that's like on your mind a lot. For example, I remember this the other day. I actually got waitlisted for the acting program and ended up not getting off the waitlist on that. But yeah, it's just weird to like think about what could have been. Oh, this is a spicy one. My daughter was just rejected from the 2014 Impulse Summer MT program. At the risk of sounding too proud, I am quite shocked. She had embarrassingly glowing letters of recommendation from both her acting coach and her voice teacher. She's been in 10 musical theater productions. I had convinced myself that whatever response we received would be an indicator for next year when she applies for college. Should we even bother to apply to U of Michigan next year? My daughter has a fabulous voice, acting is good, and getting better all the time. She can dance, but it's her weakness. Thoughts? Thank you. Okay. So first of all, LOL, this was literally me. I auditioned for Impulse twice and got fully rejected both times. And yeah, I will say, of course, we're human beings. Of course, it colors your view of like yourself and your chances. And even though I was like, I know I have some semblance of talent, I think, but for whatever reason, the school doesn't particularly seem to be my flavor. They ain't buying what I'm selling. and it was pretty discouraging. But because I'm really stubborn, I was like, you know what? I'm still gonna audition for them because I know that I like the school and I will regret if I don't. And another really useful thing was that because of the two impulse things, I think it's good to like not get too obsessed with one particular training program, because it's just like in this country we have literally so many brilliant places where you can go learn, and it's useless to think that there's only one good one. You know what I mean? So should we even bother to apply to Michigan? I mean, yeah, if you want to, do it. Why not? You're gonna regret it for the rest of your life if you don't try. I love this. This is my favorite thing to talk about. The website says that the students should dress nicely and treat the audition like a real interview. For guys, does that mean a jacket and tie, or a nice button-down shirt and possibly a sweater? Any helper suggestions would be great. Audition next week. Okay, there's wear what you like. Wear what you like. Something that you love how you look in and that like kind of makes sense with who you are. Like if you've never owned a tie, like this is not the time to go buy one. You know what I mean? This is something that you can't be prescriptive about, because to say like and this happens a lot with the dudes, because God bless you, you're all so limited in the choices compared to, you know, the ladies and the MBs. If you just say like every dude should just wear like a nice black slack with a brightly colored button-down shirt, I hate that. I think that makes it so boring, and then everyone just looks the same, and it's just like, you know, church pants and colored jelly beans walking up and down the hall, and like there's no individuality. And I promise you that none of you have worn that outfit out of your own volition in your life. Maybe you have. Hey, maybe you're that type, go for it. But what do you think you look great in? What would you wear to a date? Also, what feels right for your material? Like if your monologue is like, fuck this shit, that, you know, and then you come in with like a literal polo shirt and a little sweater vest, like, I don't think that fits. Wear what you like. Anyone know if you can audition for both programs? Yes, I did, and I liked it. Newbie parent here. Daughter has an audition on campus coming up. We're pretty unsure what to expect. Do they have a bunch of students in the audience and call you up one at a time? Or are they all hanging out in the hallway waiting to be called? You hand your music to the person playing the piano and it's okay to spend a second giving them some tempo, notes, or whatever? God bless you, I love this question. Yeah, so the way it works is, God, you don't have to watch anyone else audition, and you don't have to be watched by anyone else in your audition. It is private. This is how all auditions work. Actually, lies. Dance auditions are like a dance class situation, so yeah, it's everyone together, and then at the end you do a little dance in smaller groups so that they can like see you, like 3 or 4 people. But yes, you are with others and you do watch everyone in your group dance. However, for monologues and songs, you are in a hallway outside a classroom. You wait outside, and when it's your turn, you get led in. I was an audition monitor, so this was my job many audition days as a student. And the monitor goes, "Hello, this is Jane Austen." And then you're like, "Hello, I'm Jane." And then you walk to the piano, and then you talk to the accompanist. You do your whole thing. We're gonna do a whole video about talking to accompanist, because I know it's scary. You're like, "Hi, stranger," and then your life depends on them, and that is very stressful, and we're gonna talk about that at a later date. Anyway. Once you have talked to the accompanist, then you walk to a little X, and there is a table with the people, and then you say your name and what you're gonna do. You might, talk a little more about something, and then you start with that. So the only people in the room are the professors and the accompanist, who is usually a professor on campus, and that's it. Not even the audition monitors. I never saw anyone else audition, so it's like very private, and there's no fear of like, I'm gonna psych myself out seeing someone in front of me or anything like that. And it's never in a theater. It's in a classroom, a very like normal sized room. A chorus line is a lie. No one has ever auditioned in a theater since 1980, okay? No one. Actually, yeah, Gypsy lied, Funny Girl lied, Chorus Line lied. There's so many famous auditions that happen on stages. Lies! Lies. Never. Never. Actually, no, in Mexico I did audition for a show on a stage. So just kidding, in the US, especially in New York. What is the acting methodology taught? Singing? Okay, so acting methodology is basically like a super comprehensive kind of tool belt method where each professor comes at you with their own tools that they know and all of their history and all the people that they've learned from, and they're like, this is what I got. And then you do a class with them, and then you're like, cool. And then you just kind of see what sticks. So it's a really diverse group of faculty, which I think is really cool because everyone kind of finds like the people that they click with the most, you know, methodology wise. And that's really cool because then once you know like, oh, I know I like this physical theater thing. So then you keep taking more of that professor's classes, or you say, no, actually love this person who is like a full like Stella Adler fancy. Then you just keep taking more classes with them. There is a Lecoq teacher. There is a Meisner-ish person. There's a Stella Adler teacher. There's definitely, I would say, because it's like American theater school, you do learn a lot of group theater, Stanislavski, all that stuff. But the emphasis, because this is theater school, is sustainability. So there is never any like tortured soul, you know, like think about your horrible past to, you know, conjure up a good scene for us. That never happens. It's very much based on like, how can you do a play for 2 years on Broadway and like go there emotionally on stage and live a happy, fulfilling life outside of that. No method, crazy, abusive bullshit going on. And then singing wise, in the musical theater department, it used to be that you took classes with the vocal department, so like classically trained like opera people. There are opera people that are very good at musical theater stuff. Like, you know, like my best friend took classes with Gavin Creel's voice teacher, like stuff like that, you know? My voice teacher, for example, only had musical theater students, even though she was technically like opera faculty, you know what I mean? But that has since changed, and now the musical theater department has a dedicated voice faculty that only teach musical theater students. And I think with voice teachers, that's another huge thing, is like, it's very much, you find the person that you click with, and then they become your guide, and if for whatever reason you're like, I think I want to try something else, then you can switch, you can figure it out, and learn from other people. But definitely a very big emphasis on classical singing, especially in your first year, just to like figure out very healthy, sustainable technique and strength. And hello, we're young, your voice is still changing, so they help guide you through that. And then you get into the fun pyrotechnic, belting, skeleton stuff. Is Michigan a cut program? The answer is hell no. If anything, it is a do you need to go home and then come back program. Like, the only people that I knew that left school were very much like making that career decision because they booked a tour or something, or were just like, I need to take a semester off to take a little break, and then they come back and the teachers are like, cool, let's pick up where you left off. It's like the warmest environment. Okay, this one's great. Can some current or past student of the program please tell me what it is about this program that makes it so sought after as well as successful? What do they have that other programs may not? Great question. Yeah, I mean, I guess the magic juju is the person that founded the department, Brett Wagner, instilled a crazy work ethic into everyone around him. You earn your stripes. I talked about this a lot in a past video, which is telling you exactly what it's like to be a student at Michigan. So you can check that out here, perhaps. It is a very well-rounded education, and it is very much encouraged to grow as a person first and as a kickball change machine later. And I think in the end that makes people that are very fun to work with and kind to each other, and that just kind of adds up to very applicable real-world networking, the famous Michigan Mafia. Good lord, I've drank the Kool-Aid of this, but like, you come out of school having very good music training, good dance training, and having a very good working knowledge of the field, which a surprising amount of people don't pay enough attention to, I think. And then just one like very cool logistical thing that Michigan has is that it's in one of the top public universities in the world, and you just can't beat the fact that you have like a Big Ten football team. I didn't think I needed the football games, but like, good lord, that was fun. I'm glad I got some school spirit. And all the liberal arts classes that I took were with like I took Intro to Buddhism with the world's foremost Buddhist scholar. How could you do that anywhere else, you know? Do you know how much the acting and MT students interact? When MT students take acting classes, do they take them with acting students? The answer is quite a bit in a very specific way, which is that there's a lot of student theater where everyone works with everyone. The only thing that is like fully off limits within the theater department is like the 4 years of like acting class that is kind of like your core acting major curriculum is just for acting majors, and then the 4 years of like musical theater class that is just for musical theater majors is also, you know, just for musical theater majors. So those things don't mix. Everything else though, you can like wiggle your way into each other's classes. So for example, like I took stage combat with the acting majors of my generation, and that was really cool because I got to spend so much time with them. You can take like clowning class, sometimes they take like intro to musical theater and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of overlap, especially in the directing classes, because the directing majors need actors to work with, and that's just kind of like a free-for-all, like anyone can sign up for that. So yeah, there's a lot of overlap there. And then I think the coolest thing is that once you're in like the, you know, student theater world, everyone kind of does everything. Like Maddie, special guest star, she was an acting major and she's like a fierce director, playwright, and she asked me to do makeup for one of her plays that she directed. And I got to work with her in that way. So a lot of that kind of stuff happens. And then the other way that the departments are separate is the university productions, the UProds, which are like the department-sponsored shows that you do for college credit. Those are just, you know, each major has their own productions. How hard is it to keep up the Michigan Gen Ed classes having the rigorous schedule of a BFA student? Haha! I'm guessing you're still required to keep up to Michigan's high academic standards even if you're rehearsing until 11 p.m. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The good thing is most people are only taking one Gen Ed class at a time. So like if you're taking Spanish that semester, that's the only non-theater class that you're worried about for that semester. It kind of ends up working out that way. You just figure it out. You do a lot of homework on the bus, figure out if you're a stay up late to get it done or wake up early to get it done person. The other thing though, I just want to say is I'm a crazy masochistic overachiever, and I took more than the maximum amount of credits every single semester just because that's the type of person I am, and I somehow survived. But if you don't want to do that and you don't want to kill yourself that way, that's also fine. You can fully graduate and like meet all your requirements and be a perfectly fine student, not taking like 20 credits each semester, and you just have like more time on your hands and you get to do more stuff or less stuff, whatever you want that is going to be healthy and comfortable for you. But it's a very demanding schedule. For example, like my freshman year roommate had class. She was a foot doctor major or something like that. She was like a physical therapy major or something. And she had class from like 10 to 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And that's it. She had a lot of homework to do online, like little labs and like math and chemistry stuff. But that was it. I had like live activities from 9 to 11 every day. So yeah, it's bananas. I don't know why we do it. I was wondering if MT students are allowed to participate in Greek life. The answer is yeah, you're allowed, but like, good luck. Geographically, all the frat houses and sororities are so far from North Campus where you live freshman year. So even just like getting from where you live to rushing or doing whatever the hell Delta Nu Legally Blonde shit sororities are, I've never known any musical theater majors that can pull it off. I've known of a couple acting majors that have pulled it off, but they had to miss a lot of sorority events to do a play that you're in, or, you know, you have to miss seeing some shows to go to sorority events. Look, I'm not here to stop you. I'm just gonna tell you that if you are joining Greek life to make friends, then you already are kind of in a fraternal environment already, because the theater building is like 200 people that get to know each other really well. And there's no fees, haha. And if you're joining Greek life to know people that aren't your major, which I think is also very admirable, there's a lot of ways to do that. Like, for example, like I did ballroom team my freshman year just to meet people that weren't theater majors, and that was great. I met a lot of like engineers and business majors that like love dancing, and that was really fun and really great. There's other ways to do that. We'd be grateful for any information about the community environment in the U of M MT program. Supportive, competitive, friendly, cliquish. It's very supportive, and I think that's set up from the teachers. It's not a tear you down to build you back up sort of school. I know there's a lot of schools that say that, and good lord. I don't think I could have handled being torn down at 18. I don't know about you. So it's definitely a we love who you are, let's explore who you could be sort of philosophy. And as far as the students go, it's more like, yeah, you definitely find your tribe and you find the people that you click with more, or the people that like to have fun the same way that you like to have fun, you know? But I would say I never felt like there was a single person in the department that wouldn't give me the time of day or wouldn't like help me out. Honestly, if anything, the thing that happens more is that because everyone is so busy, you just kind of like miss people sometimes. Like you're like, we're in the same building, but I haven't seen you in 4 weeks. There's a lot of like running and hugging going on. So yeah, it's that type of department. Hi! It's that vibe over and over all day. It's pretty great. So there you have it. That's the most frequently asked college confidential questions. Yeah, I hope that was helpful, and look, I'm shy about asking, but subscribe and like and do that, and please let me know if there are any more questions about anything, Michigan specifically, or like any of this college audition thing, living in the real world. Let me know. We'll talk about it. So once you have established these boundaries and you know what the characters need and what you need to accomplish in the scene, how do you go about literally choreographing and staging the intimacy?
So sit down, read the scene by yourself first, probably, or maybe with your scene partner. Figure out what are the important moments in the scene. You know, is there a kiss there? And is there a slap there? Is there, you know, a shove there? And then once you kind of develop that skeleton, that outline, then you can kind of figure out, okay, what can we put in between here? And then in terms of figuring that part out, that is then a conversation where you can then advocate for yourself and what you are comfortable with doing like on your own. So you can say like, I am comfortable being kissed. I'm not comfortable being touched on my breasts, but I am comfortable being touched on my back, my shoulders, but you know as the actor that is your cue. And that's like what I really love about kind of coordinating these things and choreographing these things.